evening to all my good eggs out there. Welcome to Alex McCarthy's Wrestling Day. Yes, it is mine again tonight. Louis Dangle has been shifted for one night only until him and Denise Salcedo come and tear it up tomorrow night. But tonight, you have got myself, you have got the wonderful Steph Chase after another wonderful night of wrestling action. And man, what a night of action it was. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us once again. I appreciate all of the well wishes you have sent me and my family over the past couple of days. Very much appreciated. As you can see, I'm in a hotel room at the moment, so I'm not actually at home because I'm traveling to Abu Dhabi tomorrow. I'm going to go cover Conor McGregor's fight and all of that good stuff. Ooh. I know, but the relate from hotel internet, which was not conducive, is the right word. And,
yeah.
And nor is the lighting in this room either. It's horrendous. So anyway, thank you for bearing with us, guys. Thank you very much. Without further ado, though, hey, Steph.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. You're in a hotel room. I have only just got back to London about 3 hours ago, and I'm in an apartment that tomorrow I'm moving out of. So I'm in chaos, basically. Absolute chaos.
Final night. The dream is over. But alas, you're moving to a new palace. I
am a much better palace. So yeah, I'm not even in my normal setup either. So we're both dealing with different circumstances today.
Yes, indeed we are. But we were both lucky enough to watch some wrestling last night, and I got to tell you, It was a good night of wrestling again. I know we're going to get into it, and we're going to touch on both shows, but I mean, I feel like we have to. I say this every time. We've got to start with AEW because the ending to that show was, of course, tremendous. And don't get me wrong, NXT had a couple of matches that I adored last night, but again, that closing angle for AEW, that's just the stuff that gets me excited, Steph. Do you know what I mean? Like that stuff, the cliffhangers, the old twists and turns that you just like, oh man, that's good stuff. And talk to me about the Bullet Club. I don't want to say the name in case New Japan come after me. Talk to me about the gang reforming.
That was one of the best ends to a wrestling show I have seen in such a long time. It's just, the twists and turns didn't stop. I was almost felt sorry for NXT going up against that because it was so major. And I feel like ever since, Kenny started with Don Callis, we've been, wondering what he's going to do. Then he went to Impact and he got Gallows and Anderson, and we've been waiting for them to turn up. And just the way they turned up last night was just amazing, and that would have been enough on its own. But then to actually have the Young Bucks come out and throw up the Too Sweet, wow! I can't even fathom where it might be going, like what they're actually doing, and who else could get added to this. It's what I watch wrestling for.
Absolutely is. I spoke to Don Callis about an hour and a half ago. Old Don, and don't get me wrong, his interviews are strictly in Don Callis. He is nothing more, nothing less. But it was very interesting. I asked him, could we get Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega? I asked him about WWE saying they're open for business, and I was asking how last night came together. So I will have that for everyone tomorrow, or you can listen to it on Monday on my show. But it was very exciting. And I just love how it's all coming together at the moment. And, of course, Hard to Kill, Steph, is only a couple of weeks away now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're on the home straight where, and I feel like that's going to take the story up another notch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially now, we've been talking so much about what they could do tag team-wise with this Impact relationship, and seeing the Young Bucks kind of being all in with Kenny and Gallows and Anderson gives you more of the feeling that we might see them on Impact soon. It's just so many possibilities are open now.
I know. When I was saying to Don earlier about potential matches and that, and he was like, he called me an ant, I think. He was like, you're down in this little glass house as an ant running around. He goes, and I'm up here and I'm looking down on you, ants. You don't know any better. You think you're playing outside. I was like, okay. All right then, if you say so. So I think what he's trying to say is though that him and Kenny have got bigger, grander plans than just dream matches per se. And I think at the moment the way this has come along, because you got to remember when we got the first tickle of it, which was Moxley right being dethroned.
Yeah,
we're all like, oh my god, like where is it going? And I really feel like right now it's moving at a really nice, interesting pace where it's not like too much, but they're keeping it up, and I really like what they're doing.
I really like the pacing of it as well. We've had not much from Kenny in the past 2-3 weeks, and then this to happen. They've just paced out so well. They didn't like give us everything all at once. It was just all little bits. It even took Kenny, about 2 weeks to actually get in Impact properly, get off his bus, and now it's just so well paced, and it just. And then the Young Bucks thing kind of, in a way, it feels like out of nowhere in the best possible way. Because we had that weird period where the Young Bucks were maybe heels and it was a little bit confusing. And then they were just like, no, we were just trying that we're baby faces. But now, like, this has happened. And there's so much else to think about. Like, I was thinking this morning, like, how does Hangman Page feel about this? There's a lot.
Cody as well. Like there is a lot going on there. You know what? And we're glossing over the fact that Omega and Phoenix had a very, very good match. Very good main event.
Yeah. They had maybe one of the best Dynamite matches that we've seen in the history of the show. It was incredible. They both just went all out there. And Phoenix, he's potential single superstar for sure.
Oh. Absolutely, he really is. I'm saying, and I know this is like the popular connotation for any masked wrestler, but everyone being like, he could be the next Rey Mysterio, but he really could. Do you know what I mean?
Really could.
He really could.
Yeah, he's got it in ring, but he's got a charisma as well, and he just seems so cool. Like when he came out last night in his denim jacket with his face on the back, he just seems so cool as well.
I don't want to like skip around too much here, but is this the first time you've been on since Wrestle Kingdom?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, full transparency. Obviously, as I said, I was busy with the family, and I'm away now in the hotel. I'm going to watch it tonight, so I'm going to get to the match. I know Ibushi and White. Obviously, I know what happens, but I've seen what you and SB3 have told me what I should watch in what order. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick out like the top 3 or 4 matches that I want to check out. So I'm excited for that, but. Just give us your thoughts on what we saw transpire there, because my man, the bodyguard himself, Kota Ibushi, is the champ, and we all thought there was a big swerve with Jay White, and now we don't really know what's happening with Jay White.
Yeah, that Wrestle Kingdom main event, Kota and Jay White, I thought it was absolutely incredible. It's such a gripping match, and Kota was great, and he's always great, but Jay delivered like the performance of a lifetime in that match. He put so much into it, and he was playing this great heel who just got more and more like desperate and unhinged as it went on, and the ending was fantastic. And then he after the match delivers one hell of an incredible promo, like one that I would list among the best promos I've ever seen, which is where he is so frustrated and upset at his loss, and how he's tried everything and it hasn't worked, and he was just a broken man, and he did some incredible acting and was like, just wanted to be Jamie now, and basically said that he would turn up at New Year's Dash because it was in his contract, but he was done. And then he did turn up at New Year's Dash and at the pinfall.
Clean.
Yeah. So everyone's wondering like, well, especially me, like what's he doing? Is this an angle? Is he really done with New Japan? And
what's your best guess? Because for me, like the way they've booked it is like traditional, as if he was on his way out. But I think there's a part of me that's like, but they're smart and they probably want us to think that. So you know what I mean? Like I feel like they've done it so. How good his first promo was, and like just the content of it, makes me think that maybe it is kind of a work and he actually is staying. I could be wrong, but
I think it's a work, and I think he's staying. I think he's. I was very surprised at New Year's Dash. Like nothing happened in New Year's Dash. Like, let's be honest, and I was surprised because especially when he had that.
It's confirmed.
Okay, that's my favorite comment so far.
Breaking.
Do you have my Switchblade T-shirt on? So. No, I'm ready for him.
For those listening on podcast, that would be Uptown Avondale saying that Jay White, his next move is moving in with Steph. Steph has been keeping this from us on the Wrestling Daily, withholding this breaking news.
Well, once he moves in with me, I will absolutely let him go back to Japan because, that is where I think he's staying in Japan. I think it's a work, and I think that when we see him again, whatever that is, and I mean that in booking perspective and whatever is going on in Japan with their recent lockdown, I think that it's the end of him and Bullet Club. I think that they are going to turn on him, or he's just going to not want to be part of the group anymore and just focus on himself, and will probably turn into babyface because he was up against Kota Ibushi at the main event in Wrestle Kingdom, and then the crowd, like, they seem to be more sympathetic to him, and then especially in New Year's Dash, they were treating him like they had real like sympathy for him after that promo he cut. There was a lot of but I'm very excited, and he is not going to WWE. For anyone that thinks that, like, that would be the biggest mistake he could possibly make, and I'm confident that he has the sense not to do that.
Let's circle back to AEW then. I've got a few things I want to talk about from that show. First of all, we were talking about how we like the pacing and how this Bullet Club story and Don Callis has all come together. Do you feel the same way about Sting and Darby Allin? Because I would like to see them do something else than just Sting come out and make a save and not make a save.
No, I love it. I love it. Actually, Louis was asking me this last night on Twitter as well. He was kind of saying, but don't they just do the same thing every week? No, they don't. Well, they do, but with like different little looks, and I just love it. I want it like this. I almost, to me, it gives me the impression that they're like figuring it out themselves, like Sting and Darby Darby doesn't quite know what Sting's intentions are in the same way that we don't. Like, I find it very intriguing, and what will the relationship with them turn out to be? Could it be, I was almost thinking last night, could we be in like a Great Expectation situation where Sting turns out to be Darby's anonymous benefactor all these years, and we get like the backstory of Darby and how he got into wrestling and how he was helped by some anonymous guardian angel, and in the end Sting reveals himself to be him, or maybe he's just his dad. I don't know, but I like it. I like it. I like just two guys in makeup looking at each other intently while snow falls. I mean, it's a beautiful sight. It's beautiful.
I mean, I'm hard pressed to argue with that. I am. What I will say is, I do like the withholding being cool. I like it that it hasn't happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, too quick, and people are like, "Is it going to happen? When's it going to happen?" I do like that. I guess I would just like a little bit different ways to get there. But there we go. That's not as if to say I'm not enjoying Sting. I don't know if anyone saw my Twitter today, but for some obscure reason, somebody, like, I don't want to say attacked me. They just jumped in my DMs and they were like, Goldberg's better than Sting. He's a better wrestler than Sting, and he's a bigger star than Sting. I was like, where's this come from? Like, what? Who's making this comparison? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, for the record, he's not a better wrestler than Sting, and he never has been. He never will be. And any time in the existence of Earth will Goldberg be a better worker or wrestler than Sting. Was he a bigger star? Yeah, sure. You can make the argument. I'm sure there are arguments out there for who.
Bigger star for a shorter period.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure in his 98, that was like his apex. I'm sure the argument's to be made. But is he a better wrestler? Get out of my DMs. What else was I going to move on? The dog splash. Can we talk about Snoop Dogg hitting that dog splash? He went foot first. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that moment.
I was so scared he was going to fall backwards when he climbed on top.
He looked terrified.
He looked absolutely terrified. He was like, that's not the kind of like high that Snoop Dogg likes to get, is it? You know, climbing up on a top turnbuckle. But it was a great moment, and Snoop Dogg was so genuinely happy and enthusiastic to be on Dynamite. It was just really great to watch his genuine joy. You know, he did his whole bit with Cody, he did his little splash, and then he was like straight up hugging Jericho at the commentary booth, and it was just so natural. I was watching it going, you know, if he was showing this kind of genuine excitement on WWE. Like, imagine if he went and tried to hug Michael Cole, like Vince would be in Michael Cole's ear being like, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's ruining it. And it was just like lovely just to see someone have that great reaction. He was, you know, everything Snoop Dogg's done in his life and his career, and having a little jump off the top turnbuckle of an AEW ring just really, really made him happy.
I really enjoyed the commentary before and after this. So Jericho he's great anyway, but he was like, he's 9 foot tall. He doesn't need to be on the top rope. And then when he landed it, Excalibur and Jericho were like, oh, and they were like, I'm not sure what he was doing, but yeah, they loved it. They were so good.
Yeah. It was great.
It was one of them where like it was better that he mucked it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was better
than
if he actually nailed it. But yeah. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to touch on with AEW? I know we opened up with the tag match that had SCU, and that seems to be a story that's developing with the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. Seems to be pointing to that the Young Bucks are going to be the ones to break up SCU, I guess.
Yeah, because, you know, it has to lead to a title match, doesn't it? And I can't see those belts being taken off the Young Bucks. So, yeah, that might be how we see the end of SU. But I hope we have a long while to wait before that, because I'm really enjoying them.
What did you think of Abaddon and Shida?
It's not for me. I'll be honest, it's not for me. It's really not, you know. My favorite TV show ever is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I prefer to see my vampires on that show rather than on wrestling. I'm not into the neck biting and the, you know, it's like, it was just too much for me, and she did all that and she lost anyway, you know, and she was going from biting necks to putting on wrestling holds. It was, the character doesn't work for me, and you know what? It can't work for me because you know how hard I am on the Fiend and how much I hate him, and I don't think that I can give this one a pass either. It's, you know, it's not offensive to the level of the Fiend. It's not anywhere near as bad, but I just don't like it. It's not for me. Sorry. She's very talented though.
Yeah, like I can stomach a different gimmick, I think. But to me, this just didn't do it. Like, you know, I, like you just said, Abaddon is, when she's working, I like it, I dig it. I mean, it's just weird, the whole like biting, like that allowed. Anyway, it's just a bit strange, and I don't know what the end game would be with Abaddon, like in this incarnation. Anyway, also a bit of a waste of Shida. You know, like she's fully capable of wrestling incredible matches, as we've seen, and it's kind of just a bit like, I mean, I don't want to crap on it too much, but it was probably my least favorite of the show.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wasn't like, it didn't offend me, make me angry, or take anything away from the show. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, and then conversely, like when you look at what Ripley and Gonzalez did, do you know what I mean? Like that I just think there still is that if NXT has anything on AEW, it still is the women. Like,
Yeah, it is.
I think it's undeniable.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and those two had a great match, and yeah, NXT continues to be stronger in the women.
X from the Mad says, "Wait, what? You hate the Fiend? You obviously are a first time tuning in, or have not caught Steph before. She is not.
Hello,
Yes,
nice to meet you.
she is not overly fond of the Fiend. Steph, do you want to give him a brief reason why?"
Yeah, I think he's terrible to the point where he's has the potential to ruin wrestling forever. I think it's an awful, self-indulgent character that has no place within the WWE. I think he ruins every superstar he comes in contact with. I think his match with John Cena at WrestleMania was one of the biggest abominations ever put on a wrestling show, and yeah, and is he still on fire or is he back?
Who knows?
Oh, okay. Well, I hope he is a pile of dust somewhere, never to be seen again.
Where's the fan? Where is it? Where is that?
Where is the fan?
It's way too hot. Oh, hey, can I just ask you? Did you like Bray Wyatt prior to the Fiend?
Yeah, I loved the Wyatt family, the original Wyatt family. I loved Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt wrestled John Cena for the first time. I was watching that match in a bar in London, screaming my head off for Bray Wyatt and nearly in tears when he lost. So yeah, I was a huge fan of Bray Wyatt until this.
Until where we are now. Right, let's have a look before we move on to NXT at some Ultra Chats that I should really have asked you all to get in touch with at the beginning of the show. You know how to do it, of course. You send in your messages and questions at WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle2. The lovely moderators will then give us the goods and we will talk about them on the show. And what I will do at the end of the show as well, because I liked it so much with Louis the other day, I'll let you do a bit of a Q&A and we'll open that up to just the regular comments after we're done with the Ultra Chats and the reviewing of the shows. Just so you can get to know, you can ask me anything, but you can get to know Steph a little bit better too. Ask her some different questions and we will get them up on screen and let Steph tackle them. Before I do get to the Ultra Chats, which is me actually looking for the Ultra Chat doc, which I now have. NXT, of course, we had New Year's Dash, New Year's Evil, so you know how this goes. It felt like, you know how I usually say, Dynamite was better, but NXT had the better matches. Yeah. I do feel like I do feel like NXT had two really, really good matches, but I'm reluctant to say they were better than Kenny and Phoenix. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you couldn't say that, but they were different also.
For me, it's like a no contest. The Kenny and Phoenix match wasn't beaten by anything on NXT, but NXT did have two good, solid matches.
I liked, for those who aren't aware, it's Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor delivered again. Yeah. I feel like Finn Balor, I was convinced that he was just going to hold it until Karrion Kross was back, but he's hitting his stride, in my opinion, Steph. He looks great as this ultra-aggressive demon, not demon, but ultra-aggressive prince.
Yeah, don't call him the demon. He looked fantastic. He's so invigorated in this NXT run, and I think talking about Karrion Kross, I know he was victorious, but to me, he didn't look great. He didn't look like he's ready to hold the top spot and reclaim that belt.
I mean, I think everyone knows my thoughts on Karrion Kross. I'm not sold on him as a top. Maybe that's wrong. I'm not sold on his character. That's probably offensive to him. I'm not saying he's not good. I just don't like the way they're portraying him as like this. I think he's 9-0 in NXT at the moment. And it's like, okay.
I'm not sold on it. Yeah. Like, why? Why isn't Bronson Reed 9-0? To me, that's more believable.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing, like, just going back to the matches tonight, Balor and O'Reilly, I knew would tear it up. Obviously, Raquel and Rhea, real life, really good friends. You knew they would tear it up, and being the last woman standing, or I believe that's what it was. That obviously was a stipulation I think they utilised very well, but coming up against Phoenix and Kenny, I just think that was normally I kind of go, oh, here's an asterisk to can this away from this week. But I just feel like AEW are the ones who get the W in that regard this week. Have you got any counters to that, Steph?
Do I have a counter to say that NXT was better than AEW?
Oh no, I said AEW was better.
Yeah. No, AEW was better. Yes.
There we go. There we go. Is there anything you particularly want to touch on NXT before we moved on to some Ultra Chats? Because we do have some news from NXT to touch on after that, which I feel like is pretty crucial at the moment. I mean, the only thing I think I would like to say is just echoing the point you made. I thought Damien Priest tried with Karrion Kross, but I don't think they had great chemistry. And the way he picked up their first loss, I don't know. They were kind of entertaining to me in what they did, but again, I'm not overly attached to them at the moment. I don't know if that's fair to say or not.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel it's like Forest show in general. I don't think I would have put Cross and Priest on as the opener. I think I would have put the next match on, Escobar's match instead to open the show to give it a bit more energy, because I'm not sure as those are the two that really bring much energy to open a show that's going up against Dynamite. But yeah, the main event was really good though, a really solid match, and the women as well.
And that's what NXT can do. Like I do feel like they're kind of getting their ducks in a row, and we're starting to, like Raquel Gonzalez is emerging as a contender for Aew Chats and stuff like that. So I do feel like they're heading in the right direction. But this is always the thing with NXT; they have to. There's like cycles that go along there.
Yeah.
What I will say is, speaking of those cycles, good segue here. PW Insider are saying that Rhea Ripley and Damien Priest are main roster bound. Now the story going around is that Damien Priest was originally going to debut as Kevin Owens' friend. Kevin Owens, how? Not Damien Priest, the 6'6" great wrestler, just Kevin Owens' friend. And
Kevin Owens goes through friends pretty quickly.
Yes, exactly. Like, how would you ever explain that in one episode? Oh, this is one friend I have always kept. So anyway, he was going to debut with Kevin Owens, and they were going to tag against Jay and Roman. And it turns out Roman and Kevin Owens said, this doesn't make a lot of sense. And they managed to get the big man to cancel it. So it seems like they still have plans to push up Priest. The way he lost on New Year's Evil, I can buy it. I can see it happening. But I'm worried for him. I'm not convinced on the main roster they would have a plan. In fact, I know they don't, if that's what their best effort was going to be. Kevin Owens' friend. God damn it. If that was it, cool. But Rhea Ripley, I would have more faith. I feel like she probably is ready for that move now. She'd be a good shot in the arm for Raw. Presumably that's where she'd go to pick up things with Charlotte at some stage. I don't know when. What do you think, Steph?
Well, yeah, I certainly don't have any faith in them doing anything for Damien Priest if their first idea was to bring up this tall, long-haired rock star guy and have him just appear and say, "Hey, I'm Kev's mate." Like, that's just
now pull him up. Now pull him up.
Yeah, but I can see why they would want Priest on the main roster. He is like a main roster guy. As we say, he is the type that would draw Vince's attention. So I see that. But also good for Kevin Owens for standing up for himself and saying, this is a silly idea. I wish more people would do that. Like, good for him. But Rhea, I've been saying for a while that Rhea's time in NXT really feels to be done. It really feels like she's just on borrowed time right now. And I think that bringing her to the main roster is really the only way to revive her and make people feel the same way that they did about her before she had that match with Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said this before. What's Rhea, 24? Like, she has so much to give and so much potential, so much talent. they would have to go out of their way to muck her up. And I'm not saying they can't, because they haven't done great this year, but they would really have to go out of their way to spoil her in the main roster, because she has got so much going on for her. So, yeah, very interested to see how that plays out. Let's get to the first Super Chats of the night. I've left you in suspense long enough. We'll start with the AEW chats, which outnumber the WWE chats.
Wow.
Just 5-1. All right. Matthew McCoskey. Hey, man. Good to see you again. Hey, Alex. Great to see you back. Oh, there you go. Read my mind. And as always, it's great to see you, Steph. There you go.
Thank you.
That main event and ending segment was just amazing. That is why I love pro wrestling. Bullet Club for life. Much more to say and feeling generous. Another incoming. And he's not wrong, because there is another one right here. I think it's safe to say this is so intriguing. What makes this even better is we don't know where it's going. I can't wait for what's next. There's a high chance this leads to Impact and AEW stars joining together and they do a 10-man tag. Well, Matt, that is a very interesting idea. You would imagine that having the Bullet Club together is leading to a pay-per-view or something of that nature. I mean, I know we've got Hard to Kill, but I mean, in AEW, Steph, what do you buy his idea of the 10-man tag? And do you have any wild theories?
Well, I know last night I saw a lot of people bring up, is this a Blood and Guts match? Are we making a Blood and Guts team? Which would be pretty cool. But I think some kind of crossover show would be pretty awesome. It would be certainly something very unique. And yeah, the more we see these rosters mixed with each other, the more that will make sense, because the more we can make, little rivalries. And now what we need to do is see who's kind of on the Impact side, because there's obviously something between Kenny and Rich Swann, and we've got the Motor City Machine Guns match, but they kind of we need to have more people from Impact kind of step up and say that they want to fight this invasion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and they should do as well, because the Good Brothers have got their hardware. Kenny might end up with their hardware. We don't know where that's going. So I agree, Matthew McCoskey. Very exciting time. I love when I can't see where something is going in wrestling, where I can't predict it. That's the best feeling. CM Chris says, hello, Alex and Steph. Give me that hand signal, please. You know what I mean. And what craziness has been going on in AEW Dynamite, right? Wonder what will happen next. And Steph J. White is still too sweet. Hashtag Elite Good Eggs. Hashtag love you, Alex. Down there, brother. There you go. Too sweet. Whenever you go to a wrestling show, I don't know, particularly in the States, that's all people do when they're drunk. They just see you and they go, woo, yeah, too sweet. Okay, man. I love it, though. But yes, CM Chris, you certainly can have that. And also, it is crazy, man. And I know we were just touching on this, what happens next and whatnot. But I kind of feel like that's part of the move of what Douglas is doing at the moment. He's kind of like, normally, you can read into someone's promo, and I'm going to use this example because it's a bad one, where Goldberg was like, you don't respect legends, Drew McIntyre. I know what people are going to say, that I hate Goldberg. But objectively speaking, that didn't make much sense, did it? It really didn't. That was something you would have said to Randy Orton, who was actually going around Raw digging out legends.
Yeah.
That would make sense. The same show. And instead, we've got Drew McIntyre, who was hanging out with legends like Jimmy Hart and Hulk Hogan, and, for better or worse. Yep. And being nice, he's going, you don't respect legends, so I'm here to challenge you. Like, hang on a minute, Goldberg. Anyway.
Maybe he was he's old. Maybe he got confused and he was meant to go talk to Randy.
But I think Don Callis is doing a masterful job of he's very subtle, but he's really kind of calculated the way he's going about his promos and his work. I honestly think, I know people are rating Don Callis, but maybe it's a bit understated how great he is as part of this angle.
Yeah, he is. He's really the brains behind it, and in every way. I think, on screen and off screen. So it's great having him actually there on the mic to properly guide it, in that way, and drop the correct hints and make us all wonder about stuff. And yeah.
No doubt. Carol Wands is here. Hey, Carol. Hi, Alex and Stephanie. AEW had a hell of a show last night. Bullet Club back. Yes, please. More of that weekly. Can't get enough. Sorry to say now, I'll be out of the WD chats for a while due to work things. Boo, Carol. Going to miss the Elite Good Eggs and Last. Love you all. We love you too, Carol. I hope you had a very good New Year. I'm sure I can extend a virtual hotel hug your way for all the work that you have to undertake. But we appreciate you. Yeah, there you go. Steph's was much closer than mine. Mine was like a bear hug. Sorry. But we appreciate you, Carol. George Yamin says, in the perfect world, the Messiah and the Tribal Chief would show up to AEW and help Moxley. I mean,
why would you want to ruin AEW like that?
Hey, now, don't you speak ill of Roman Reigns on my show, Steph Chase.
That wasn't directed towards Roman Reigns. We all know who that was directed towards.
I know. There you go. Do you know what? I am a sucker for the Shield. I always was, probably will be. But I do think all three of them are actually... Yeah, I preferred Baby. Yeah, I think right now they've actually, for the first time, all three of them are the best they've been. I do prefer Seth as the babyface who was killing it in like 2019. That's my favourite Seth, I think. Like match quality wise, anyway. I think he works better as a face. But it's Roman and Moxley. I don't think anyone could deny they are as good as they've ever been right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. I think the Shield was really great at the time, but they don't need each other, and that's not saying that other factions do, but they're all just doing so great. And the Shield, the three of them were all so different as people. Everything about them was different, and they're just now able... They all seem to be, maybe not Seth, but Roman and Moxley certainly seem to be doing what they were always meant to do in wrestling.
Thank God somebody listened to Roman and Heyman eventually, man, because, like, Jesus, it took
a while.
Yeah, didn't it? Oh, dear. Here we go. Mayor of Painesville Dan, Steph's arch nemesis. Hello, Alex. Welcome back. Thank you, brother. Hello, Steph. Wasn't this NXT like the best episode ever? Dexter Lumis is the greatest host of any show ever. What are you talking about? I'm a better host than Dexter Lumis. Don't you say those things. Did you see the red jacket? Incredible, he says. I am glad they keep Cross and Balor hot for Lumis to beat them. Hashtag Dex Express. I don't know where to start with that, Steph.
At least we didn't have to see him have a match. That's positive.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
yeah.
Do you maybe you prefer him as the host, Steph? That's his best suit.
Yeah, I think I would rather he hung up the wrestling boots and maybe moved into hosting. And if that doesn't work out, just full retirement would work. I think for sure that would, maybe just go back to doing his art in his apartment, and that would be great.
And live out his days, sure. Jermaine, come on, man, don't try and goad me like this. Come on, brother. You got to be more subtle than that. We have a couple of hot takes in the chamber. Woo! Just for Steph. We've got some videos here. But, I'm going to start with Greg Cherry. That's what I'm going to do. He's been on here before, and I know he comes with the hot takes.
Hey, everyone. Greg Cherry here with another hot take. Although this wasn't as much of a hot take as it is a conspiracy theory. And that is this. Scotty 2 Hottie actually won the 2005 Royal Rumble match. Watch the match again. He was the only one not eliminated, but everybody else was thrown over the top to the floor. Discuss. Should Scotty 2 Hottie have main evented WrestleMania 21?
No! Obviously not. How long do you want me to discuss this? I mean, you might have a point. I mean, technically, do you remember when The Rock won the 2000 Rumble? And then Big Show had footage, and he was like, well, actually, he didn't. His feet at the floor first. And instead of going, oh, actually, Big Show won, they went, oh, I'll have a match for it. And then The Rock beat Big Show. And the history books just showed that The Rock won the Rumble anyway. It's like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
WWE, they make their own rules of that. Rey Mysterio was all... 2005 Rumble we're talking about, right? That was Batista?
I think so. It certainly wasn't Scotty Too Hottie.
No. Was it? Someone in the comments will tell me. I'm sure it was Batista. Anyway, Scotty Too Hottie, though, I will say this. There are so many people have told me about the amazing work he does at the Performance Center. Obviously, he's a coach there and that. I'm sure, Steph, you've heard good things as well. I know he gave Lacey Evans her finish. That was all Scotty Too Hottie's idea, the women's right, the name, the move, everything. A lot of people have spoke very, very highly about that. So, yeah, no, he wasn't ever going to main event WrestleMania. I loved him as part of Too Cool. I will say that in like 2000. But no, I think Dave Batista was the right choice, Steph.
Yeah, I think Scotty Too Hottie is like the example of a really great lower to upper mid-card act that we had around that time, who was highly entertaining. But a WrestleMania main eventer, he was not.
Didn't Curtis Axel never get eliminated either? Remember that? That went on forever.
That did.
God damn.
With not much of a payoff either.
No. You know, it's staggering to think he was a Heyman guy. It actually is.
Yeah.
Like they. I never understood. I know this is a huge segue. I'm sorry, or tangent, I should say. Why didn't they just call him not Mr. Perfect Son, but why don't you just call him Joe Henning? Just call him Joe Henning. Don't overthink it. I know the Curtis Axel thing is like a homage to both of them. Don't overthink it. Like they tried too hard.
The problem is like with some people, like Charlotte, it's so shoved down your throat that she's Ric Flair's daughter, and like that's cool and great, but they take that to the extreme. And then you get someone like Curtis Axel, where you could watch that for years and not realize he was Mr. Perfect's son, when they really could have just tried to play into that even a little bit, like a pre-made gimmick there.
Yeah, because he was a really good worker too. I remember The Rock worked out with him when he was doing his comebacks and stuff. I know I'm talking like from a mechanical perspective. There's a lot of people that respect him in the industry, so you could have easily done like trying to imitate or elevate what his father did, or you could have done something. I feel like what they ended up doing just a bit of Michael McGillicuddy. Who gave him that name? Like I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'm sorry. Let's check out another video, and I think Andy Datson, WrestleTalk's own Quizzlemania cheater, renowned Quizzlemania cheater, Andy Datson.
Hot take. Wrestling fans are the worst. Not all wrestling fans, but some wrestling fans are the worst. And this was proven in the last week, where the wife, the widow of John Huber, Amanda Huber, had to take to Instagram to ask fans to stop using her husband's death as a way of creating more dissension between AEW and WWE fans. You can like more than one thing at one time. Stop using these horrible events to try and get your point across. There's no point. I like AEW. I like WWE. Some people only like one. That's fine. Get over it. It's fine to like what you like, and stop taking advantage of people's misfortune.
Yeah, I mean, the first part of that's not even a hot take. It was disgusting that somebody would. First, the fact she come out. I'm not going to talk about it again in depth. She had to actually debunk that Bruce Mitchell column or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm trying not to swear. I'll get told off. But the imitating of her son on Twitter as well, like people like Jim Ross were following it. Come on. It's just ridiculous. I get what he means. Like sometimes wrestling fans, there are bad wrestling fans out there. Of course there are. I've covered multiple sports. There's bad fans everywhere. There's just bad people, unfortunately. But there are a lot of great people too. I guess you just have to find the balance. But seeing stuff like that really is. I get what he means. It is pretty disheartening. Slow.
Yeah. I get what he means, but I think that we're we're in the wrestling bubble, so we see it from wrestling fans. But there's certainly other fandoms, other sports, other forms of entertainment where people behave like this. But yeah, there's lots of great wrestling fans, and then there's lots of terrible wrestling fans that just want to, spend their days trolling people, during tragedies, which is unbelievable, but it happens. Yeah.
That's so weird, isn't it? Oh, I'll tell you what, Matthew McCarthy says Jordan Devlin just faced Ben Carter. God, that sounds like a good match in NXT UK. I haven't actually seen Jordan Devlin since he's been back. Not sure, about that, but the premise of them two wrestling sounds good on an ability level. I know that much. What else have we got? We've got one more video, I think, and then we'll move into a little 10-minute Q&A. How about that?
Oh,
let's see,
gosh.
let's see what WrestleTalk
Such a
said.
hot take. I'm on fire. Alex, Stephanie, I'm telling you right now, Damien Priest, Rhea Ripley, if they get called up to the main roster, going to be a complete disaster. It's a mistake. They both need to stay in NXT for at least 6 more months. Calling them up now, they're going to get fed to the wolves. They're going to get the Keith Lee treatment. They're going to look like garbage. Absolutely terrible. Don't make the call up. What do you think?
Again, Steph, I can see what he's saying.
Absolutely. Look, I don't have faith in anyone being called up from NXT, and then at the same time, I don't feel like you should stay in NXT forever. So it's not good either way. But Damien Priest, I would say it's too soon. Rhea, I wouldn't say it's too soon, but that still doesn't make me think that she's going to have success, because you know what creative's like. But Damien, I would give another 6 months to.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Steph. I do think it's time for Rhea. I do. I feel like she's faced everyone pretty much in NXT, even the women's division. She's done a lot, been the cornerstone, been the champ. It's time to move her up. There's a lot for her to do on the main roster. Damien Priest, there's a lot of different stuff you could do with him still in NXT. And unless you have the story for him that's longer thought out than on a whim, keep him there. I think that goes for any time. Have a plan.
And he was a bit of a slow burn, because he's really improved, but that's recently. It took him to really find himself in that character. So give him a few more months to get totally confident and comfortable in it.
Yeah, he's been rolling on takeovers, right? Like, imagine, I don't know, towards the end of this year, let's hope that fans start coming back. He could really be popular with people at those events and stuff. That could be big for him. So what I will say, guys, now in the comments, all of you, I see you right now. Get your questions in to Steph and I. We are going to finish on a Q&A this week. You can ask us anything for the next 10 minutes.
I didn't agree to this, Alex. I didn't agree to this, okay?
Yeah, well, all right. I mean, Steph reserves the right to fob your question off if it's terrible. But other than that, you can ask her just about anything, and you can keep it wrestling, but I don't know. Maybe Steph will tell you what she played rugby as a child. I don't know. You have to ask. Yeah, maybe you did. Adam Pearson says, Steph, if Angel Garza offered you a rose, how would that end up for him?
Well, Adam, it wouldn't end good, because I would turn around to Angel Garza and I would say, Angel, all you do is offer women roses and it never goes anywhere. So I know nothing's going to happen between us. I know next week you're going to be offering a different girl a different rose, and so on and so on. You're not the Lothario you think you are, Angel Garza. No. So I would reject his rose. Well, I would take the rose probably, because roses are pretty, but I'd reject Angel Garza. I'd reject him.
You'd reject the notion of the rose, but you would take the rose. Yeah, I mean, I love Angel Garza, for the record. I think he's great. Not sure about.
I think he's great too. I'm not sure about the gimmick.
No, that's
he is great.
Not sure how that's going to lead into glory, to be honest. But there you go. What else have we got going? Uptown Evidence says, Steph, when you get your tattoo of Jay White's face, where will you put it? I'm guessing your shoulder blade. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But No, there will be no tattoo of Jay White's face. That's I'd be way more subtle than that.
Yeah, something Switchblade maybe. Who else have we got going on here? Jaman says, should Eric Redbeard be the new leader of the Dark Order?
Okay, I think no, and that doesn't mean I don't want to see him in AEW, but I think it would just be kind of an odd fit to just, have the new leader as the person that was formerly Brody Lee's we all know the real life stuff there of them being a tag team, but I just think it'd be an odd fit. And as far as what they're going to do with the Dark Order, I'd rather see it just them kept as the group they are. Maybe they don't have a leader anymore, but I wouldn't just slot Eric Redbeard in there for the sake of it. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to him, because I think he should be in AEW because he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's not that I don't want him there. I feel there could be a space for him. Yeah. I just feel like if you do that though, it's a bit narrow. Do you know what I mean? People will always be like, that's what Brody did. I don't know if you want to put him in those shoes, because they're very hard shoes to be in, and they'll always be attached. I don't know. My gut kind of tells me a John Silver or someone will rise from the ashes, and I don't know if there'll ever be a direct leader. I think maybe Brody Lee might always be the leader, even now that he's not there. Do you know what I mean? Maybe.
I think that they should basically say that Brody being their leader kind of gave them the confidence and the tools they need to be a unit that doesn't have to answer to one person, that they're all more self-assured people from how they were before Brody molded them, and then they can just be a group together without one solitary figure.
Alex, I was expecting you on the Monday show, so I got to know, what was your first impression when you saw Goldberg face off against McIntyre, and what do you think will happen at the Rumble, says Injection 2K. How long you got? Obviously, I don't like it. Obviously, I have no desire to see Goldberg wrestle in 2021. Basically, since the Lesnar match in Mania 33, has he done anything worth anything? No, I don't think he brings any value. It's not that I dislike him or don't respect what he did back in the day, but it's just not for me. These short matches with his 3 moves that don't, he can't even really do them half the time. I'm sorry, it ain't for me. It ain't. Again, with the greatest respect to Goldberg, it just ain't for me. So unless if he beats Drew, I just think that's horrendous. I don't think he will. I don't know if even WWE could be that silly, but I didn't think they'd do it to The Fiend, and they did, so I don't know, is the answer.
I love that the way I feel about The Fiend, you feel about Goldberg, even though they're 2 completely different things. But I like that you kind of put in that niceness where you might be a little bit scared that he might beat you up one day because you're telling him how much you respect him and stuff. And I don't bother doing any of that with Wyndham Rotunda.
I don't like. My feeling is I don't blame Goldberg for wrestling at this age. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
That Vince gives him a shitload of money to wrestle at his age. It's not his fault. I would do it. But at the same time, it doesn't mean I have to sit here and go, it's great, because the matches aren't. I'm sorry, they're not. There you have it. That's just me. Steph and Alex's Planet's champion, Daniel Bryan, or Yes Movement D. Bryan? That's a really good question.
That is.
I think Planet's champion only purely off title reign. I thought that was one of the best reinventions of a character I've seen in years. Daniel Bryan.
Awesome.
So good. The F movement was obviously magical, at the time. But man, I think from a character perspective, maybe it's got to be the Planet's champion.
I think the Yes movement, if we can't really say Yes character, can we? That was just Daniel Bryan really being himself and an organic thing that took off. But as far as a Daniel Bryan creating a character the planet Daniel Bryan is the best one, the best actual character created for Daniel Bryan. He pulled off well. Remember when they released the special belt? That was amazing.
It was.
I think they could have ran with that a lot longer.
I think
he had Eric Redbeard.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, actually, before mechanical spiders. What about True Heat says, Steph, if you had to watch one of these matches to stay alive, which one would you pick? Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes, blindfold match, or Fiend versus Rollins, Hell in a Cell?
Okay, I'm going to pick Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes, blindfold match. Why? Why did you pick that, Steph? Well, the answer is because I feel that's the less painful option. That's kind of just two idiots going around in a blindfold, like trying to touch each other, and it's funny and whatever. Fiend versus Seth Rollins is just two boring, self-indulgent guys drawing out something, thinking that it's high art drama when it's actually bargain basement rubbish, and it would just make me way angrier. I think I could have a bit of a chuckle with Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes. I think the Fiend and Seth Rollins would just put me in a bad mood.
What would you do?
But thanks for the question, SP3.
Yeah. What would you do if WWE offered you to speak to Fiend?
I'd totally do it, and I'd be really nice to him.
I've thought about this with Goldberg. Like, if I ever get the chance to speak to him, like, I'm in too deep now. I'd have to be like, I don't really like watching you wrestle, mate, and then I don't know, watch it all burn down.
I mean, if you did an interview with Goldberg and it was just like totally straight normal interview, and you were your lovely self, everyone on Twitter would be tagging Goldberg saying, "This guy hates you."
He hates you, though, Goldberg. No, I don't. Yeah.
I have to say though, I would if Wyndham Rotunda ever left WWE, I would love to interview him. I'd want to know everything of how he came up with all these ideas, changing characters, why he thinks things with Bray Wyatt didn't work out, original Wyatt family. I would be so interested in that guy's mind. I don't like the Fiend, and I don't like it being forced on us and how it interacts with the rest of the WWE universe, shall we say. But I'd be 100% up for interviewing him if he would be completely honest and completely out of character.
What about this? Alex, what's your best Goldberg match since you've had... Any other questions? Then Goldberg would be great. Probably Ziggler at SummerSlam, and the fact that I've picked that, like, that was nothing. It was just spear and jackhammer, so it tells you everything you need to know.
Quick and painless.
Yeah. Matthew McCarthy, Steph, can I have a virtual hug? I could really use it. Also, is there an AEW Weekly this week?
Okay, virtual hug.
Ah, look at that. Let in and everything.
I'm not going to do the one this week. I'm 100% back next Friday, but this weekend there's just too much, and I don't even have somewhere to set up tomorrow. I will be in a complete mess, and I'll probably not even be able to find my laptop, let alone have a seat to stream in. So yeah, sorry guys. There will be one next week, but thank you to everyone that's been watching. Don't worry, it will be back every week starting from next week. It's the life happens sometimes. Life happens.
Keep tuning in, guys. Keep tuning in. Alex, if you had to pick one match to stay alive, SP3 says, which would you pick? Goldberg Fiend or Goldberg Take? Goldberg Take it easily, all day. Even though they were both terrible car crashes, at least take it. So there you go. What else have we got going on? I'll do a couple more, and I believe we've got an Ultra Chat as well to get to. Do you think WWE should have built up Funhouse Bray Wyatt more than The Fiend, to be honest, and keep The Fiend as a final result for cinematic matches? I mean, I've said before, I feel like Fiend matches are a problem because the character is, like, unbeatable, so... Like, you saw it with the Seth
But he
Rollins.
gets beaten.
Well, exactly. So the way they try and beat him is terrible. And then who they've let beat him, Goldberg, also terrible. So I think that in lies the problem, that they've built a character who is somehow unbeatable, and yet they need to find ways to beat him. They haven't really thought it all the way through.
Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion on that because I don't want to see the Fiend, so I don't want him to be built up more.
Alex, Steph, what's your take on the Acclaim's rap before the opener on AEW? I'll tell you what I will say. The Acclaimed are the best at that gimmick that I've seen in a long, long time. And the people who bleep in AEW aren't very good at it.
No, the people that bleep in AEW, they're always a little bit behind, aren't they? I think the Acclaimed, they do it well. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult gimmick, getting out there and rapping before your match, but they're doing it well, and they're still very green. So hopefully it just keeps getting better, but it's fresh and it's new. It's a fresh take on an old gimmick.
It really is. Alex, how many tats do you have? I actually don't know. Like, I've just an arm worth. Like, you can kind of see how it runs around. One? Is it one? I don't know. It's
one giant one.
Yeah, I just have several like on my arm. Like, there you go. There's a 4-leaf clover for my Irish heritage right there. So yes, I have just one arm, and that's it. I need to get my daughter on it, but obviously all this COVID stuff is. But I've got one daughter and not the other one, and.
Ooh, favoritism.
Yeah. She came first. I don't know what you want me to say. So there you go. We'll do the last one from Adam Pearson. No, in fact, that's not Adam Pearson. Do female wrestling journalists have to prove themselves more than their male counterparts? How do you both deal with toxic fandom? Steph, obviously, I will let you go first.
Yeah, I straight up, I think they absolutely do. I think female fans even have to prove themselves more than male fans. I think things have got a little bit better, but as far as like watching wrestling, being a wrestling fan, I've been that for so long. So I remember when it was really, really bad and guys wouldn't at all like take your opinion seriously, let alone believe that you actually watched it or that you actually watched it on any level other than just wanting to watch some men in their pants. But that's how guys would think the only reason a woman would watch wrestling. I think that when you are a female wrestling journalist, you do have to prove yourself a bit more. I've had not a lot, but like some guys on Twitter kind of not really like come for me, but kind of, question, a girl doing it or thinking that you probably only started watching it post like women's revolution when it was good for women. And I'm like, oh no, honey, I was there when women were doing evening gown matches. So but I have to say though, my experience with other journalists, male journalists, has been great. Like they've all been really lovely and welcoming to me, especially Alex. And with fans on Twitter, and my experiences with people on Twitter have not been that bad either. They are 99.9% of the time very positive.
Yeah,
but everyone deals with crap.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, I'm not going to attempt to put myself in Steph's shoes. Nobody can explain it better than her. But just from my perspective, I've always, I guess, gravitated and supported Steph just because I thought she was good. Like, it didn't really matter that she was a woman. And I've met her, obviously, events and seen the work that she's done, been on lots of calls together. And I think if you just looked at, it's obviously will never happen, but if you just took gender out of the equation and looked at who the top people were in the UK, Steph is there on her own merits. And the body of work would say that. So that's how it should be, really. Well, that's how it should be, isn't it? Like you hope the best do the best work. And toxic fandom. Oh, geez. I'm generally quite a positive voice, I feel, on Twitter. I try to be. So I feel like you normally get what you put out, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. So I haven't had to deal with it that much. I've had people come for me before. Like, I think that's just part and parcel of the work. If you put out some reports or whatnot, and I can sit all day and go, oh yeah, but I got all of this right, and they'd be like, oh, but you said, whatever.
Yeah.
You get that all the time. I've only ever really had a couple that really, just obviously didn't like me and like proper come for me. So if for them, it's fine, right? Doesn't matter. You don't have not everyone has to like you, is in my opinion. But I always go out of my way to be respectful and nice. So if people want to engage with you and be like that, then that's cool. But I do feel like it goes back to what we said earlier about wrestling fans. There are some that don't have a sincere intention of being nice to you, and I always feel like you have to be like respectful of. It's fine for people to disagree with me. Like if I have a take on Twitter and someone says, I don't agree with that, or that's wrong, or I would do this. That's totally cool. I'm not going to like mute you or block you for that. Like I've got no one's muted on my Twitter. I've only got 2 people blocked. That's it.
Yeah, I've got 2 people blocked as well.
And that's it. Like it takes a lot for me to be like, no, I've had enough of this. Like, so there you go. Let me go to the Ultra Chats to finish then. Thank you very much for that, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Insightful question. We have got a couple left here. CM Chris and it's Matty. So let's start with CM Chris. Also, I got hashtag SB3 for Quizzlemania. Said on Quizzlemania last night, and Tempest was on about Wrestling Daily team on Quizzlemania in the future. Ooh. Fingers crossed, hope this happens. And Steph loves the club, and I do love her as well. For life, says CM Chris. He's I'll tell you, he's a high-level ultra chatter. Is CM Chris.
Absolutely. We love it.
Matty, hey Alex, hey Steph. Been a great show today. I'm currently freezing because it's snowed today. Oh, I forget.
I'm freezing.
Matty's in Scotland. What would you say is the loudest pop you've ever seen live? Also, is Alex's best friend winning the WWE title at the Rumble? Come on, guys, please. What do you think the plans are? I was led to believe by a few people that Goldberg and Reigns was the plan, and this maybe is a late switch, so not sure what the idea is there. But, Goldberg's only got 2 matches a year, so what are you going to do? If you put the belt on him, he's not going to have it long, is he? And if he does, like, I don't know. So, I don't know. I feel like Drew will beat him, and if he deserves to, in my opinion. I mean that strictly from what Drew has been doing as champion, which I think is a great job. What was the other part of that? Loudest pop.
Loudest pop.
I've got a couple in mind. One of them that's surprising is when Mustache Mountain defeated the Undisputed Era for the tag titles at Royal Albert Hall. I don't know whether...
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
Wasn't it? Right? I don't know whether it's just the way the building is, like, set, but the noise was, like, insane.
That was crazy.
And I think, it's... that is one of them that's always been there for me, but I think I always go back to this. I was there for Edge's return at the Rumble, and I was there for the Hardy Boys' return at WrestleMania. Both of those were mental. Like, people were losing their minds. So I think those are my top 3. I don't know. Put them in order would be too hard. Steph?
Nothing springs out in my head. I was thinking that Mustache Mountain, I always had that image of them like actually in the crowd as well. Remember when they got in there with the belts, and it was pretty amazing. I can't think of a pop I've heard like in a massive arena or something. So sometimes those ones that are a little bit more smaller and intimate, the pop almost feels even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at I went to Blackpool 1, and that is obviously it's a tight venue, but again, like you just said, depending, like, because sometimes the tighter, less venue, the noise is mad. Yeah. So yeah, I miss wrestling. I miss it live.
Yeah, I miss it live
dearly. Anyway, guys, we've run on long enough here. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us. I know we were 10 minutes late. I sincerely apologise. My goddamn hotel. But so moving forward, Steph, of course, will be back here next Thursday doing her usual Wednesday roundup. Until then, Steph, I know you've got a busy week moving, but do you want to tell the people where they can find you and what you're doing?
Yeah, find me at Twitter, Stephanie M. Chase, YouTube, Stephanie Chase Wrestling. And I know we touched on it a little bit here, but if you want to hear my full Wrestle Kingdom thoughts, check out Spotlight, the official podcast of the Grapple app. I recorded that straight after night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, where I talk all about my thoughts on Jay White and the whole card.
Excellent. I can't endorse it enough, guys. If you can, please do go support Steph and help her out. There you go. There's her Twitter. And here's the YouTube. You'll be able to find that, I believe. The mods put it in the comments as well, in the description. You'll be able to find it. Tomorrow is Louis and Denise Salcedo. They're the B team of male and female presenters, I feel, Steph. No, they are great. I love Denise as well. Her work's been great lately. So please do tune in and check out those guys, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Next week, I'll be in Abu Dhabi, but I will still be doing my show. So more hotel Wi-Fi for everyone to deal with. But I will be here next Tuesday with Louis, then SB3, then Steph. Normal service shall resume. So until then, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate all of your questions, all of your Ultra Chats. And we will see you next week.